Khalil Rountree Jr. exposes Jamahal Hill and Rafael Fiziev does enough to get past Ignacio Bahamondes. This is the UFC Baku recap, and it's coming up next on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends and still the undisputed African fighting podcast champion of the world. UFC Baku took place yesterday at 9 p.m. South African time. And reacting to the card with me is the reigning defending undisputed big champion of the world, is, of course, bro.
The one and only. Right here. Right here.
What's up, brother Gaia? Welcome
I'm good,
back.
bro.
Welcome back. This is the UFC Baku recap, PG. As always, we start
At the top of the card.
at the
Let's
top of the
go.
card. We saw Khalil Rountree Jr. expose Jamahal Hill. The word that's being used is fraud checked. And yeah,
Mhm.
agreed. We
Yeah.
did kind of call this in the preview.
Yep.
Just thought Khalil was going to have too much for him, and that was the case. Neutralized him early with the leg kicks and then just really put on a dominant performance here. So, BG, what can you tell
Yeah.
us, bro?
Yeah, I think if we can really take something away from this fight, right? Remember when I was saying in the preview about the evolution of the two fighters, like who actually evolved a little bit more in their careers, and I think Khalil Rountree is it's indicative of that if you look at the performance. You could clearly see he evolved his career, whereas Jamal he's the same guy that has fought since he's introduced into the UFC. It's the same fighter. He didn't change anything. The man didn't add no clinching in. He had no wrestling in. Nothing. He's literally the same fighter he was from when he started up until now. Even after those title fights, he literally didn't change anything about his game plan. Khalil Rountree leveled up his fighting style from being a brawler, hardcore striker to a more precise and selective kind of striker, and that made him very dangerous in this fight. You could see that the fight was moving at his pace. It was it's the way they entered whenever Khalil wanted to enter. The exchanges happened based on his terms, not on Jamal's terms, and that's what we saw in this fight in every single round. And it starts off by what you said was the leg kick exchange, where Jamal did have a little bit of a success, but Khalil's was just a little bit stronger and had more technique to it, and that's why it actually had a better effect on the fight. Because then Jamal's legs were cooked from the first round. He struggled to use his base. He couldn't really land what he wanted to land. And the shots he did land on Khalil didn't have the pop that it normally should have. That was because he couldn't stand down on his legs. He couldn't bite down, mouthpiece, plant his feet, and throw something because he couldn't. The legs were cooked. And he knew also that he had to fight outside of his regular stance. He had to fight orthodox because I mean he's a southpaw, but he had to fight orthodox the whole fight because Khalil took his legs out, and then when he was fighting in southpaw, his defensive weapons changed. The way that he strikes just changed. Now it basically forced or put Khalil in a position where he's in control now because this guy's fighting in his plan B now. He forced Jamal to fight the plan B or plan C style where Khalil didn't have to do anything. He didn't change anything of his style. He fought the way he wanted to fight. It was brilliant. Beautiful knockdowns. Three knockdowns. Was it three now? Three
I
knockdowns.
think so, yeah.
I'm just double check here. Why are they saying no knockdowns? Oh my
It
word.
was definitely at least two, but it could have been
I
three. Yeah.
I saw three. They're
I
showing
remember
one knock.
two very clearly, but could have been
It's my
three. Yeah.
the website is registering one knockdown in the total fight. What a utter lie, bro. We clearly saw that one was knocked down three times. Anyway, Khalil beat him up for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Beautiful fashion. The only thing he didn't get was the finish, but I think the performance was so great that he didn't really need that finish for me personally because I thought it was completely a shutout of Jamal Hill. And to the point where I would even go as far as to say that Jamal's gonna have to go right down the picking order, bro. Out of the top five, he's gonna have to really reschedule or rework his career now, because that's now back three losses. Right, two of them are in the top five. The other guy is not even in the top five. Khalil Rountree is ranked number 7. So I think Jamal's gonna have to go down, and they're gonna have to put Khalil back into that top five now. And the next fight for both these guys is going to be a make or break for their careers. For Khalil Rountree, it's going to have to be. He even said it himself in the Octagon interview post fight. He said he wants to fight for the title. That if that means he has to go through another athlete next, he's okay with that. He's like, give me that next fighter. I have no problems doing that. I just want to
Mm.
fight so I can get to the title. If that means I must fight another number one contender guy, I will be happy to do that. It's fine. There's no rush. For Khalil Rountree, I like that Khalil Rountree said that. I find a lot of respect in the way he said that as well. For Jamahal Hill, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to go down. And actually, looking at that list of athletes right there, I would say give him Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes is actually been back on a win streak of late. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak at the moment. So I always go as far as to say that could be a phenomenal fight for someone like Jamahal Hill. Sorry, if not Jamahal Hill and Dominic Reyes, give Jamahal Hill Alexander Rakic. That's the fight for him. But for Khalil
Mm,
Rountree, he has to go into that top five now. He has to. There's no other way about
yeah.
it. Probably give him Jan Blachowicz or Carlos Ulberg. Yuri Prochazka took some time off of UFC at the moment because he's completing his degree. So he's only going to come back next year. Um, so that means you can count him out a little bit, right? I would say they're probably going to do Big Ank and Alex Pereira again. Therefore, they're going to have to give Khalil Rountree someone else. And the next natural progression fight for me would be Carlos Ulberg. That is the guy Khalil Rountree is going to have to fight next. Jan Blachowicz is 40 years old. I just wouldn't want to see him fight anymore. If I'm being honest, it's just like protect him and his legacy and whatever, and just his whole body and his whole mind. Just don't give him another fight. Like let him chill. He's been a champion already. He's gone in some good fights against some of the top guys. The only person he didn't fight is Alex Pereira. I don't think he needs to take that fight either. Alex Pereira is weighing 240 pounds. He might be going up to heavyweight. So I would just say Jan
I think
Blachowicz
they
is
fought though, didn't they? Blaovic and Pereira.
did they? Yes, they did.
I
They
feel
did.
like they
They did.
might have, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, you're right. They did fight. They did fight. So I would say Carlos Ulberg and Khalil Rountree, and then I would go Jamahal Hill versus Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, I think those are solid fights right there, BG. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you can let us know your thoughts in the comments on that one. BG, do you have any final words on this one before we move?
Yes, I hope that this fight helps Jamal Hill with his mind. It really does. Because I like what Khalil Rountree was saying. That I didn't watch the full post fight conference, but I like that you were saying that there was nothing coming from him in this fight. He just felt some bad energy from Jamal Hill all the way building up to the fight. And so that's why he was very stoic and not really being friend. Like, even though he's normally like that, he's like, no, this guy was giving me some bad vibes to protect my own energy and my own mind. I didn't want to retaliate to any of it. I wanted to be very quiet and very poised and just fight the fight, and that's it. And when we're done, let him know that nothing bad was said. He doesn't have to be this mean about it. We can call it here, bury the hatchet, and we can move on as professionals. I like that he said that. And also because the beating was the way it was, I hope that this humbles Somalia and he doesn't have to fight as if his life depends on it. He's coming into the octagon with this nature of like everybody's an asshole, screw everybody, I'm this and I'm gonna beat everyone and then you can't take what's mine. And that's making him fight in a way that is draining his energy in a way that it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? That's not nice. And that's
Mm.
why he's probably losing to the top guys because emotionally he's not fighting the fight right here. He's fighting the fight in a bad way. And I think this fight should teach him to clear his mind going forward from here and really like treat the sport for the sport. You don't have to be angry at the next person you're fighting against. You know what I mean? Just fight the bra. You don't have to hate this person to fight him. Just fight him. So I think I hope this fight teaches him that lesson. Because Khalil came into the fight very wholesome, no bad vibes, but Jamal made it like that, and he got his ass beat for it. So I hope it teaches him that lesson.
Also at BG. Anyway, we'll move then to the lightweight division, and here we saw Rafael Fiziev beat Ignacio Bahamondes
Mm-hmm.
over 3 rounds. And yeah, of course, high level technical striking affair here. We did
Mm-hmm.
see a little bit of grappling from Vaziev, but yeah, high
Yeah.
level technical striking. You made note on stream to the stance switching.
Mm.
It was really like a game of Dance Revolution the way these guys were switching stances. Yeah, look, again, for what it was a high level striking fight, and that's always good to see. Personally,
Facts.
would like to see a bit more of those car crash moments where they stand in the pockets and trade. But I mean, if
Mm.
I'm Bob Wendes, you don't want to be in that pocket too long with Fiziev because he's just too powerful and too fast.
Strong.
So yeah, great performance by Fiziev. The right decision by the judges for me. So
Yeah.
BG, what can you tell us here, bro?
Absolutely. I think he won the fight by landing the more damaging strikes. But like you see, as you can see on screen there, 4 of 4 takedowns. That's 100%. Every time he did shoot the takedown, he got that takedown. And this is MMA. That means he's adding more dynamicness to the fight. You have to give him that extra points, right? For Bahamondes, personally, watching the fight, just like reflecting on the fight now as we're doing this recording, I personally feel like that Bahamondes fought a little bit tentative. He's the taller fighter, but he's fighting outside of the range consistently. You know what I mean? He didn't really enter the range the way that I thought he would. Which was strange because you're the taller fighter and he wasn't utilizing that distance, that reach advantage the way I thought he would. He was very much fighting so far out of the void. It was like, dude, you're the taller fighter here. You don't need to do this. You know what I mean? You got a better chance to actually attack that void than Fiziev does. Yeah, he's faster than you. He hits a little harder than you. But you can pepper him up. You can really pepper him this dude up with that range. What Bahamondes didn't utilize was tips to set up a lot of his strikes. A lot of the times he was just fishing for a high roundhouse or spinning back roundhouse a lot of the time, which you could see it was exhausting him as the fight was going on. So I just feel like if he had to set those spinning attacks up, maybe when he had Fiziev up against the cage and then do a spin there, you know what I'm saying? Just utilize that range a bit better. I just felt that because he's fighting so far outside of the void, how are you gonna land anything on Fiziev if you're so far away from him and you consistently stay in there and you forcing Fiziev to come at you? You know, there was moments where he did land an overhand right in his countering. That's one of Bahamondes' specialties, is the overhand right going backwards. And he landed on Fiziev. But like I said in the preview, you ain't knocking this bra out. You're not gonna knock this man out. You need to do something else to beat him. You're gonna have to take him down and tap him out. You're not gonna beat him by knocking him out. That's Fiziev is one of the most durable guys in that division. So Bahamondes for me fought a little bit tentative, and that's why Fiziev was able to actually do what he did. When they did enter the pocket, Fiziev would let body shots go. Bah, 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 bah. And you could see Bahamondes, granted he's 27 and he's conditioned really well, so you could take those shots, but you could see he didn't like it. It was a very good, it was a very much a masterful display of striking from both guys. But I think Fiziev, like I said in the preview, I felt that he was the better striker. I thought he was the more devastating striker, and it was on display in this fight. And then also he included the wrestling, which he didn't really have to, I think, but he did, and it solidified his victory for me. So it's good lessons learned for Bahamondes when you're going back. I think Bahamondes should have also introduced some wrestling in the fight because that would have changed the dynamic for Fiziev and it would have made him rethink about what more he could have defended other than just defending this guy's overhands or his roundhouse kicks. You know what I mean? Because Bahamondes didn't really throw much other than that. You know, overhand right, tried an elbow here and there, a lot of spinning back kicks, a lot of roundhouse kicks. And Fiziev was like, "Is this all you're gonna throw at me? I'm then doing the matrix here and I'm dodging all this stuff like it's nothing." So I just felt that Bahamondes needed to do a little bit more than just that, take the fight to Fiziev. And then Fiziev, he didn't have to do much. I think he fought a very good fight, if I'm being honest. His leg kicks were really damaging. I think he fought a very good fight, considering that he went toe to toe with Justin Gaethje. That last fight was short notice. The weight cut was a little bit difficult, and he still showed up like that. You have to give him props, bro. Also, career being backed up against the corner. You've gone on a couple of losing streaks. You're ranked number 11th. You've been out for a very long time. The division has moved on kind of away from you. So there was a lot at stake for him. You in the home crowd advantage. You know what I mean? It could have been shitty for him if he actually lost this fight, and he didn't. So keep big ups to him. And also, Bahamondes, being 27 years old, can afford to lose. I don't think that Fiziev can afford to lose going forward from here. So, yeah, I thought it was a good shot from both guys, but Fiziev definitely deserved his hand raised there. For Bahamondes, I think he must take the lessons learned in this fight, not to be so tentative when you're fighting against some of the top guys in this division, especially when you're going up to go for a title run. Fighters like this, if Bahamondes had to put on a statement win here, he would have gotten into the rankings and he would have bypassed the top 15. He would have gone into the top 10 maybe. He would have gone just outside of that top 10 if he had gotten the statement win over someone like Fiziev who was in the top 5. But he fought very, very tentative to me, and it showed me that he was a little bit still like, what's the word I'm looking for? The imposter syndrome. Like, am I actually welcome in the elite of this division?
Mm,
And that's the kind of body language I got from him. But
mm.
anyway, he's young and we will see more of him because he's a talented fighter. I like what I see from him. He's obviously a go-getter. He's flashy, but I just think that the order of Fiziev, who's not even like the elite of the division just yet, he was the elite. Um, Kind of made Bahamondes fight differently.
Fair play, BG. So let's talk about what's next for these guys. Do
Okay.
you want to see Bahamondes fight another ranked opponent, possibly the likes of Joel Alvarez or Grant Dawson?
Mm,
Or do you think he
mm.
should fight another unranked opponent? And then after that, also tell us what you think is next for Mr. Fiziev.
So, pardon me. So I personally think that So if you look at a lot of the guys that's above Fiziev right now in that top 10, they've got fights lined up. The only fighter that doesn't have a fight lined up is Paddy Pimblett, I almost said Paddy McCoy, Paddy Pimblett, Dan Hooker, Mateusz Gamrot, and Arman Sadykhov. Those are the four fighters that don't have fights. Everyone else is booked up already. Obviously, Justin Gaethje doesn't have a fight, but I don't think he'll get Justin Gaethje again. So the natural progression for me would be Mateusz Gamrot because he lost that fight on a technicality of having a broken knee. So get that one back. And Mateusz Gamrot that who just fought someone that's outside of the rankings in his last fight. He fought Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein's not even in the rankings. So I would say give Mateusz Gamrot the fighter that I know he won, but he also knows he didn't really win that fight in the fashion that he would like to. So let that fight happen. Someone said Dan Hooker. I think you said Dan Hooker, but someone also tweeted Dan Hooker. I don't know where I saw the tweet, but someone said Dan Hooker would also be a good fight for Rafael Fiziev. I would say Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje should be the fight since Max Holloway is going up against Dustin Poirier. Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje, and then we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Fiziev. That's just because that fight ended in such a fashion that it was inconclusive. So I would let that fight happen again, and then Joe Alvarez up against Bahamondes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't have a fight at the moment, so that might be the one to make. Yeah, I think those are all fair comments, BG. Ladies and gentlemen, you can let us know in the comments your thoughts on what's next for these guys. BG, any final words here?
I still think it's a killer division. That lightweight division is still pretty much stacked. So I'm looking forward to whatever matchups they're going to make there. Because if we look at those names that are in the top 15, I would love to see anyone and then fight anyone, to be honest, because they're all really that good. So it's exciting times for that division. I just don't like that UFC makes strange matchups like Ludovic Klein taking on someone that's ranked number 7. It's like, what are you doing there?
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of strange matchups, we had the number 5 ranked heavyweight also fight Rizvan Kuniev, who was unranked on the night. Curtis Blaydes getting the job done. Some might say controversially. Split decision here. And this was again, I mean, it follows that pattern where it's like if they don't get to finish in the first round, it becomes a very, very sloppy fight. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what we saw here. Both guys gassed out, no pop in their shots towards the end of the fight. And just terrible striking on display. Like nobody really demonstrating any great technique. Curtis Blaydes had a massive takedown where he just kind of ran through Rizvan when he was still fresh. So not a lot of technical prowess on display here. Not a lot. It was a snooze fest. That's what it boils down to. BG, tell us what you saw here, bro.
Absolutely. I think you hit a nail on the head there about that description. It was definitely a snooze fest. And even Curtis Blaydes himself looked like he lost the fight in his facial expressions.
Yeah.
He was just like, probably because he got beaten up. Let's be real here. He got the takedown in the beginning of the fight. Rizvan got up, to my surprise. He got back up literally within that first, 30 seconds. He was like taken down, but he was like, I'm getting back to my base, bro. I'm going to stand up here. And then Curtis Blaydes couldn't take him down because in the remainder of that first round was just them on the cage. Curtis Blaydes trying to do a takedown with sloppy technique, by the way. And this man was like, you're not even doing anything different to get me down. You tried to hook the leg. That ain't working, bro. So that first round was very dull. I'll give Curtis Blaydes the first round for that takedown. But now goes past to round 2 and round 3. Rizvan beat him up. Even though the total strikes looks like it's more in favor of Curtis Blaydes, a lot of it was tap stuff, and he was trying to do some odd stuff, odd hooks and odd straights. He was lunging jabs and things like that landed on Rizvan, but it didn't really stop the way Rizvan fought. Rizvan still defended the takedowns really well, and then there was moments where he was had some damaging uppercuts, and when Rizvan did let his hands go, you could see the damage on Curtis Blaydes' face. Like he didn't take any of the shots really well. It was beating him up, even though he didn't get knocked down. I was like, how's no one falling over here? Because it's clean strikes, bro. Clean strikes on Curtis Blaydes. And I would say that the damaging strikes goes into Rizvan's favor. And that's one of the big criteria is the damaging strikes. So I was just like, how did Curtis Blaydes win this fight again? What did he do? He could, because all his takedowns got stuffed after that first round. So what are you scoring him for? I don't get it. I don't know. And I wanted Curtis Blaydes to win, but look, at the end of the day, as much as Rizvan is the guy that comes into the UFC with this very like tarnished record of sports enhancements twice, got banned substances here and there and other whatever. Um, he still came to show up, fight the fight, and he still fought the fight that surprised me. I thought Curtis Blaydes was going to walk right through him, but he didn't. And he put on a fight that actually made the ranked number 5 heavyweight thought that he lost the fight.
Yeah, everybody thought he lost the fight, I think.
And even the fighter himself
Huh?
thought he lost the fight. So
Yeah.
that's exactly where the UFC is at on this night. There was weird judging, there was weird refereeing, and I personally feel like Rizvan actually won it, and they should have given it to him. He won the fight. I would say split decision, yeah, rightfully so. But yeah, I just don't know how they could. There wasn't enough for me that could warrant the victory going towards Curtis Blaydes, other than the first round. They just didn't do anything else for that. And I would also put it already puts there was already the statement around heavyweight division being kind of sloppy, like you say, when it doesn't pass the first round, it gets really sloppy. Or one is going to say that the division is very stale at the moment, and this performance kind of like solidifies that. It's like if you don't see Tom
Mm.
Aspinall fight, the division actually sucks ass. And Volkov's the only other one that really stands out. But other than that, it's like, what's going on here, bro? Like, what are we doing
Yeah.
here in this division?
Do you want to
Get
watch
Anatoly
that?
Malik in here.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Ragrag's looking ripe there, bro. But anyway,
They
just
fighting, by
on
the
the
way.
yeah, I saw. Yeah, when do you know when that's booked for?
Yeah, it's booked for Japan, November 16th, 173.
Oh, is that 1173? Anyway, let's
Yeah.
get back to the UFC, BG, because this is the heavyweight division, and this is on the morning that Jon Jones has announced his retirement. So maybe we can just kind of
Right.
segue into that a little bit. You guys had some very strong opinions in the group chat so early in the morning. So yeah, maybe just want to get your thoughts on, of course, what's next for Curtis Blades and just the
Yes, sir.
heavyweight division in general. Now that Jon Jones
Yeah.
has retired, yeah.
Now that he's retired. So, firstly, I'm grateful for that to happen because now I can allow the division to start moving a little bit more forward. And because Tom Aspinall wants to be a very active fighter, he's 31 years old. He probably only has 4 more years before he's going to consider retiring. So, like, you want to have this man as active as possible, right? You don't want this division to be sleeping. Um, so grateful that that's happening. In terms of Curtis Blades, if we look at that list of athletes on there right now, he lost to a fighter that this was his UFC debut. Yes, I know he's a former champion in another organization. I get that. And normally when that's the case, those fighters do kind of get like a fast track when they come to the UFC because you're coming in with championship status. You know what I mean? We saw it with Michael Chandler. We saw it with Patricio Pitbull. We saw it with who was the most recent one, Patchy Mix. So same thing can be said here, where this man has gotten the privilege of being the former champion, taking on someone that's ranked in the top 5, and put on a very good, I'd say, very good fight. But under the how the fight played out, you would go as far as to say like he actually took it to Curtis Blades, right? So for me,
Yeah.
either Curtis Blades must come out of that top 5, right, or we need to give Rizvan more respect and actually put him somewhere higher ranked in the division. So for Curtis Blades, he needs to fight. I would go as far as to go like, give Curtis Blades that Waldo Costa Cortez because he won his last fight, even though it was a boring ass fight that he had. I would go as far as to say you can fight against that dude. There's Charlton Almeida. I'm not sure if he fought Charlton Almeida. I think he fought Charlton Almeida already. But they could do that one. There's Marcin Tybura. He just can't fight up from here. He can't. I'm sorry. He just can't fight up from here. Even though he won. Even though he won, it's not a fight where it's like, give me Sergey Pavlovich, give me Alexander Volkov. You can't call those guys out with that kind of performance. You're unfortunately going to have to fight someone like Charlton Almeida next. And then hopefully if you get past him in a very good fashion, you could then go up from there. But that's where I stand with Curtis Blades at the moment. But in a nutshell
Mm,
of the division, I wouldn't mind seeing those top 4 guys clap it out consistently, like because they could compete against each other. They
yeah.
are Sergey Pavlovich, Alexander Volkov, Cyril Gane, and Tom Aspinall are actually light years ahead of everyone else in that division. So far, they don't actually want to see them fight against anyone else outside of that top 4.
Mm,
You
mm.
know what I mean? Tom Aspinall already walked through all those guys below him, some of them twice. So they're
Yeah.
gonna have to do they're gonna have to do something different with this division in terms of now that Tom Aspinall is the actual heavyweight division. I feel like he's gonna walk through Cyril Gane as well, and then they're probably gonna give him Alexander Volkov again, which I think is gonna be sucky because like he beat him quite convincingly before this. So it's like personally, the UFC is gonna have to go and get someone else, and I would say, yo, one championship, I'll give you Curtis Blades, you give me Pachecha. I give you Sergey Pavlovich, give me Anatoly Malikin, and then we call it there. You know what I'm saying? And then we
Mm.
put Anbam Aspinall against Anatoly Malikin. That would be a liquor fight to watch. But that's where I stand on the heavyweight division. Actually,
Well, there you go,
grateful
Dana
that
White.
I'm grateful that Tom Aspinall is the champion now because it's what's warranted. It's
Mm,
warranted.
mm. Yeah, to be honest with you, the only fight that does get me excited about the division now is the Tom Aspinall Cyril Gane fight.
Mm,
I do
mm,
think Aspinall wins, but I think that's going to be the most competitive. I think in terms of having
yes,
a path to victory, Cyril Gane is the better striker.
yes,
So he does have some kind of a path to victory there.
yeah.
So yeah, it's really a shit time to be a heavyweight and a
Mm-hmm.
fan of the heavyweight division. So yeah, we need some real big revolution here in the heavyweight division. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll move to a catchweight bout, and we saw our bra with no vowels in his name, Mikatek Orolbai, defeat Musayev by first round submission. And yeah, just major strength advantage here. Made the
Mismatch.
most of it, and yeah, got the dub in the end. So yeah, BG, gonna go straight to you. Yeah, tell us what you saw.
Yeah, this was a mismatch fight. Tofik, not a middleweight. Miktabek is a big middleweight guy. I think Tofik looks like a very good, solid welterweight fighter. But you can see the size difference and power advantage was definitely in Miktabek's favor. Orolbai was just too strong. Look, when they were standing, he looked a little uncomfortable, but then he just took him down literally quickly in the first round. And once they got to the ground, it was pretty much game over from there for Tofik. Tofik was doing okay to defend and doing okay to try and get up here and there, but there was just a moment of there was an attempt for Kimura twice, and the second time Kimura did land, it was game over. Right? It was a devastating Kimura to the point where I was ready to actually close my eyes because I thought his arm was going to come off, bro. That's how
Mm.
deep that Kimura lock was in, and he was screaming because he couldn't get his arm out, his right arm out to actually tap. He was
Yeah.
like, yo, this guy's arm is gonna come off here. That's what it looked like. You can even see on screen the amount of strikes landed tells you that the fight literally went to the ground instantly, and then from there it was Mick the Beck all the way. So great performance to get back in the win streak. He's now won 7 fights out of 6. His last performance, I think he lost that fight. So, but now he's back in the winning track. Not much to say because it was a catchweight fight, so it didn't really do anything for the division or for any division really because it's not in any division. And Topik was a last minute introduction to the fight because they needed someone to follow the card from the home ground, from Azerbaijan, and Topik is from Azerbaijan, kickboxing champion, and yeah, they needed someone to hype up the crowd, and that's why he was there in the card. I don't even think he's contracted. I think it was like a one contract fight. Um,
Mm.
so they can at least have a card, so they can at least have a fight on the fight card to fill up the card. So that's what we got in this fight, and yeah, can't really take much from it because the fight went in a way that was kind of expected. You got a guy that's a kickboxer, don't really have MMA experience, coming into the UFC to kind of hype up the crowd, and then take on someone that is a freak in nature. This is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get some fight like this, and yeah, it's not Mick the Big's fault that this is the opponent that he got. He had to fight who was in front of him, and that's what he did, and it was a great
Mm.
finish.
Yeah, fair comment there, BG. And yeah, great performance by Orolbai on the night. If you have any thoughts there, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments. We'll move to a lightweight fight now. And this was probably the fight of the night on the main card. We had Nazim Sadykhov defeating Nicholas Motta by second round TKO. And yeah, these guys were swinging for the fences, both
Mm,
landing on each other, both really just going balls to the wall at times in
yeah.
this fight. It was very entertaining. On a card where we were kind of starved for these kind of performances. So yeah, it was great to see. At least we got two guys who really went for it on the night. So yeah,
Yeah.
BG, tell us your thoughts
Yes,
here,
sir.
please, bro.
Before I give you my thoughts on this fight, because I do agree it's fight of the night. I find it quite interesting that there's no fight on this fight card that got any bonus. No fight
Oh,
of the
these
night
guys
bonus.
never got bonuses.
No one got bonuses. There's no bonus on the fight card.
Yo,
Not a
that's
single
harsh.
fight got
Because I
anything.
think, especially on a card like this, these guys should have definitely got 50K each. I would have given 50K
Exactly.
each.
They
Yeah.
could have given him a 50K each, and then they could have given a 50K to Khalil Rountree for his performance of the night, and then
Mm.
possibly Orolbai also for submission of the night. But dude, like no one got a single bonus on this fight card. It's really interesting. But anyway, because this fight for me, If this fight was on a different fight card, they probably would have given this guy something for it because that was exactly that kind of fight. I mean, it was a crazy fight, high pace from the get go. They were going at each other. I mean, Nazim came out into the first round very confident, looking stylish. He's got that bounce on him. You know, he's got the Marab in his corner. He's got the Ray Longo in his corner. John Wood, all the top guys are there. The whole squad is there, and he was looking phenomenal, bro. Until Motta cracked him, and I was like, whoa! Taking him back into the cage there, and Motta letting those body shots go. And there was moments when Nazim was gonna go down, and then you have to give him kudos for not going down, dude,
Mm,
because body shots can crumble any human being. I don't give a damn who you are. If a body shot lands correctly, in the words of great Bas Rutten, liver shot. If that thing lands, you finish. You're not gonna get up from that. And Nazim actually like stuck through all those body shots. And like you said, you called it immediately, even before the broadcast called it. Thiago Motta, what's his name? Nicholas Motta punched himself
But
out. He
Mata,
punched. I'm gonna change my name from Brother Guy to Malta Baldo. Um, Nicholas Motta punched himself out, dude, and he had nothing for the remainder of that first round because then he went back into defensive positions and let Nazim back into the fight. But that wasn't because he wanted to; he had no choice. He literally couldn't punch anymore, so it let Nazim come back into the fight, and then Nazim started taking over again at the end of that first round, and then in the second round it was all Nazim. Granted, Nicholas Motta was doing some punches and he was throwing some stuff in there and some jabs and hooks, but you could see that those punches were lacking the velocity and it was lacking that power to it. Whereas Nazim was just looking great, bro. Like he was peppering the shots, and then eventually, when he did land that right hook, square
mm.
on Motta's face, dropping him, and then land some extra punches to the face at the bottom, sealing the deal. For that, you have to give him performance of the night, AD. Like that one for me was definitely, even though I thought Tadil fought brilliantly, phenomenally. I just
Mm,
thought that Nazim has to get performance because he was almost finished and he came back and then he finished the fight. You have to
yeah.
score someone for that. You have to give them something for that because he was almost done and then he came back and won. So yeah, that was the one fight that actually got us off our seats.
Mm.
Other than the main event, this fight was really the big one on the card. So yeah, well done to Nazim. Definitely excited to see more of him.
Fair, BG, making a lot of sense there. Let us know in the comments if you have any thoughts on that one. But all right, then, BG, we'll go to your boy, Bog
Mm.
Daddy.
Uh,
Bogdan Grad coming up short here against Muhammad Naimov, who
yeah.
was really indulging in the dark arts in terms of
Oh.
testing the laws and the regulations of the game here. But the man was really, for lack of a better word, he was cheating openly,
Yeah.
and nothing was done about it. So yeah, unfortunately, Bog Daddy
Mm.
coming up short here. He looks like he's quite a character, so was hoping that he'd get the victory and we'd see a bit more of him. But yeah,
Mm.
give us your thoughts on this one, brother guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the eventually the fight was going into the state where I was like, this is starting to become a little bit boring now. You know, and what makes it feel a bit boring is because of the antics of the athletes, right? Both of them are like,
Yeah.
and Bogdan is just like putting out this invisible sword and all this, and you think, okay, these guys are gonna do mad stuff, and then you get this flat fight, and you're like, nah, come on, man, now, what is this? What are we watching here? And
Yeah.
just to your point about the cheating, I didn't want to say it on stream without sounding like a person that's discriminating, but we watched the whole fight card, bar the first two fights of the night. And I counted a couple of fights on this fight card where the athletes that are from this region of Naimov them pulling in the gloves, hooking the gloves like this, holding the cage to avoid takedowns consistently. How many times did Herb Dean and what's the name, the other Arabian referee was saying, don't grab the cage, pull your feet out of the cage. Why must he be warned so many times, bro? Like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
doing? And why is it only these guys doing it? The home crowd guys? What the F is going on here? It's deliberate stuff. You are deliberately doing it, and it's in front of everyone's faces. Rizvan that fought against Curtis Blaydes was looking Michael Bisping in the eye when Michael Bisping said it. He's grabbing the cage. He's literally looking him in the eye while doing it. Like, what is going on here? They need like I don't understand it. I'm not going to spend all my time complaining about that, but on this fight, it was a little bit of the snooze fest. Naimov did just enough to win the fight by being a little bit more dynamic in terms of throwing some takedowns in there, trying to get a submission, striking a little bit more fluidly than Bogdan. Bogdan just wanted to really just ground and pound. You could see he just wanted to really get close into the range
I
and
can't
get the
let you
fight to
get
the ground
close.
and smash him. That's what Bogdan does. That's his game plan. But unfortunately, Naimov was awake to that after the first round. He was able to navigate away from it and then did what he needed to do in rounds 2 and round 3 to win the fight. Just narrowly winning the fight for me. But there wasn't anything that could take away from this fight and going and be like, oh, I want to see more of this, guys, because that was just blowing me away. And I feel like there'll be a problem for the featherweight division. I don't think there'll be a problem for the featherweight division. I think you can put John Silver against both of them at the same time, and John Silver will beat him.
Yeah, most likely. Most likely. Okay, BG, that does round out the main card for us quite nicely. We'll go to some prelims and let us know if there's any thing you want to highlight here.
Nothing really, hey. Ismail Naudif cheating, gets his ass beat for
Yeah,
cheating. Urban Elliott got exposed for being a dud, if you're being honest. Granted that Sukyan is actually quite big and powerful, but still, Sukyan isn't really, how do I put this? He isn't elite. He's just a big
yeah.
guy and he's strong, but he couldn't finish an average Urban Elliott. So not much to
Mm,
take away from there. Melissa Mullins, I thought she did okay, but I mean, she was losing. That fight, what she wasn't too bad. These women were actually throwing down. They were
yeah,
really like putting
yeah.
on a show. Daria was really putting. They fought hard. Both ladies fought really hard. So I really liked that fight. And Zelensnikova really won it. Good job on that one. I just came online for this Arena Alexivia, so I missed that fight. I thought Arena actually was winning the fight from what I could gather, but it looks like Claudia actually won the first 2 rounds, so they gave it to her. And the bottom 2 fights, I missed that, unfortunately. Thanks to you for reminding me that the fight actually started, so I didn't really get to see that too. But I will say well done to Usman, because Muhammad Usman needed something. He wasn't really having the
Yeah.
best of record since coming into the UFC. So he needed that win.
Fair play. The Usman brothers going 2-2 within a week. So fair play to them.
That's
But
true.
okay, BG. We round out UFC Baku now. So as always, we go to some final thoughts and a post-fight rating for the card. So
Final thoughts. Not that happy with it, especially because there was some stuff happening on the fight card that was uncouth in terms of like the cheating, having Rizvan, who is an athlete that's been exposed for taking sports enhancements,
known
um,
cheaters.
known cheaters. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
that kind of left me going. This is not really a good show out for the organization that is as big as UFC. So when my card rating being from 5 because of the main event, the co-main event has gone down to 4. And the only thing that's given me that 4 points is that Khalil Rountree and Fiziev actually put on good performances.
Yeah, fair play there, PG. I'm also gonna stick with my initial post fight rating of a 4.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought the Khalil Rountree Jr. and Jamahal Hill fight was good. I thought the Fiziev fight, just maybe because it was so hyped, and maybe because I was so hyped for it that it was a little bit underwhelming.
Okay,
Even though it was a high level technical
it
striking
was
affair.
very good. Yeah,
And yeah, then not too much else I can say. Like you, I do agree there was a lot of antics. But yeah, what else
oh,
from
sorry.
your side,
The other thing I was
PG?
going to add that can maybe solidify why we're going with a 4 is that you know your organization is in trouble when you get to the main event of your fight and then the crowd dissipates and they leave the venue. Like that is worrying signs for organization for me. I find that very problematic.
But
So
I don't know how much of that is at what you attribute that to. You know what I mean?
I
Because
just
it
think
could. Hmm?
yeah. No, I
No,
just
no, no.
think
You
that
go.
it's I think that is equates to because Jamal Hill and Khalil Rountree is from America. They're not from Azerbaijan. If
Yeah,
if Fiziev was the main event with Bahamondes, the crowd probably would have stayed there. You
definitely,
know, because
100%.
we could hear on live stream how empty the venue was when it was in the main event. I could hear the coaches more than anybody. There was
Mm.
like nobody. You could see there was no lights, nothing. It looked very very empty. So I find that a little problematic because even if you don't have home crowd fighters um, in the main event, you still stay there. You paid a lot of money to be here. You're still gonna chill and watch the whole event. You're gonna get your money's worth. You're not gonna leave because because there's no Azerbaijani guys in the main event or no Russian type fighters in the main event. So personally, I'm like, you stay there, bro. You pay the ticket, you take the ride all the way. You don't just leave. This is like a football match when your team is down 2-0 at home and you're like, 90 minutes left. I don't want to stay and watch the last 5 minutes of the match. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's giving me that vibes, and that's not a good sign for the organization. Granted, they also the UFC still takes the money because tickets were bought. So doesn't change anything for them in terms of that access, that side of things. But this is not a good sign. This is
Yeah.
not a good
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, the footage that you're seeing on the screen now is as round two of the main event was starting. So you can see that the stadium, I mean, most of the people have left already. So yeah,
Yeah, that's more than
disgraceful.
50%.
That's pretty much all I can say is disgraceful. But also, I mean, you
Exactly.
don't know how much, how invested these people really are in MMA. If it was more
Mm,
like just a nationalistic type of thing, we come in to support our countrymen. You know what I mean?
there we
It was
go.
more
There we go.
that kind of thing. But yeah, just very strange because I don't think this kind of thing would happen in Africa even there.
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
So
no,
why
dude,
are you taking it to places? But anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
bro, bro. PFL is coming to Cape Town next month, right? Tickets already almost sold out already
Mm.
for PFL.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that tells you a lot already in itself.
yeah, for sure. But okay, I mean, let us know your thoughts in the comments there, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wrap it up for UFC Baku. So thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, please like, subscribe. We got new content, so you can watch the podcast every day. Joe Rogan. So yeah, look out for us this week. Big week of fights coming up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be dropping content pretty much every day. So keep an eye out for us.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is our time. Have a wonderful Sunday, and we, like I said, we'll see you next time on Fighting with Fred.